Good morning, Malta and Gozo, and welcome to another episode of Lovin Daily. My name is John-Paul Sapardi. Today I'm joined by Paula Kalki, and these are your 5 headlines for today. Maltese mother fears children abducted to Libya and Dubai by her former long-time partner. Malta has also vaccinated over 8,000 people in one day yesterday to set a new record. The second Daphne murder suspect is now implicating Carmelo Abela in the HSBC heist. Surgeons in Malta are warning against experimental stem cell therapies, and a handcuffed women protest against abortion laws happened outside Parliament. Before we jump straight into the headlines, to let you know that we have an interview with Andy Grech, the president of Athletics Malta, so make sure to stay tuned for that after our headlines.
L-ewwel storja naħseb l-ikbar nightmare ta' kwalunkwe ġenitur ġrat il-Romina Pisani li tkellmet ma' Lovin Malta dwar l-istorja tagħha kif spiċċat qiegħda tipprova ssib kaptu ta' fejn qegħdin u lieda dan wara illi l-ex partner tagħha, partner ta' 16-il sena, telaq vaganza b'ulieda tifla ta' 9 snin u tifel ta' 14-il sena u ma rritornax lura bit-tfal. Fil-fatt din l-omm li hija bħalissa disprata u ħadd ma jtija tort qalet il-Lovin Malta illi irnexxiela permezz tal-pulizija tagħmel kuntatt ma' bina permezz tat-telefon, però t-tifel tagħha qal li ma kienx ma' oħtu li ma jafx fejn kien oħtu u mill-lider wara dik it-telefonata dak it-telefon line ġie skomunikat u bekk ma tistax tagħmel komunikazzjoni mat-tifel. It-tifla rat ritratt tagħha libsa l-ħiġab Dubai, ritratt li tellat wieħed mill-familjari ta' l-ex partner tagħha u bekk qed tissuspetta li għandha tifla Dubai, tifel fil-Libja, però fil-verità din il-mara ma tafx fejn huma ulieda. Tajb li ngħidu li r-relazzjoni ta' 16 sena li kellha ma' dan ir-raġel Libjan kienet fi kliema abbużiva, però ma tajt ovvjament li l-abbuż li soffrit waqt ir-relazzjoni mhuma xejn komparati mill dil-horror story li miskienet tgħix bħalissa li ma tistax mhux tal-li ma tikkuntattjax il-ulieda imma lanqas biss taf fejn qegħdin.
No, it's a scary situation to be in. Obviously, the issue of parental alienation has been brought to the fore in Malta. In most cases, it tends to be the father who is alienated from the children, but in this case, it's a bit of a role reversal, and it's terrible to hear in any case, whatever it may be, especially during a global pandemic where traveling is super restricted and whatnot. So who knows where her children might be and if she'll get the opportunity to visit them in Dubai or Libya, but all thoughts and prayers with her, and hopefully the situation gets resolved soon. Moving on to our second story, and a kind of positive note, Malta has yesterday vaccinated over 8,000 people in one day, setting a new record for our tiny little island. That's pretty good news, especially considering the fact that Malta is expected to reach herd immunity within the next few weeks, with health authorities giving a deadline or a rough date of around June, the same time when Malta will be opening its borders for tourists to come in. And also, we can maybe attribute this high rate of vaccination to the fact that Malta, I believe, was one of the first countries in the world to open its vaccine to people aged between 16 to 30, meaning, the majority of the population is now getting vaccinated. With Malta expecting to reach herd immunity, it couldn't come at a better time with summer being around the corner, but obviously there are still some concerns that while the population might have reached herd immunity by June, tourists coming into Malta might be bringing the vaccine with them. In fact, if you look at the statistics over the past couple of weeks, the most number of cases of COVID-19 we've had are imported cases, so we just have to hope that obviously when our borders open, it doesn't coincide with a rise in cases being brought in by tourists.
Dik hija l-unika differenza l-għandna mis-sena li għaddiet li din is-sena nistgħu nipproteġġu n-nies tagħna mill-COVID jekk jiġi importat mill-barranin għaliex tajb li ngħidu l-barranin huma mitluba li jippreżentaw mhux il-barranin biss anke meta Malti jsifru ma jkunx ivvaċċinat huma mitluba li jippreżentaw negative test, però ovvjament da ma jfissirx li tul tala tagħhom f'pajjiżna jekk ikollhom imqar il-bidu tal-COVID ma jimmanifestax ruħu waqt li jkunu hawnhekk u bekk jibda jinfirex jarġa' l-COVID, però nisperaw li bil-vaċċin u bil-vaccine certificate u bin-nies li jiġu Malta jkunu vaċċinati ma nerġgħux naraw ripetizzjoni tas-sena d-dieħla u bekk forsi għal darba nistgħu nibqgħu għaddejjin bis-sena normali bla hiccups kif kellna s-sena li għaddiet. Ovvjament qegħdin naraw numri kbar ta' nies li jitlaqmu mhux biss għax issa kulħadd donnu tħajjar li tisir fuq dan is-sajf imma anke għaliex hemm ħafna pressjoni anke mis-settur privat sabiex il-vaccine certificate ikun użat anka fuq livell lokali, ġifiri biex tidħol f'post b'ħafna nies, biex forsi jerġgħu jibdew l-events tal-massa, l-vaccine certificate ser ikun kruċjali u bekk dak li jkun qed ilesti ruħu biex jekk dak ikun il-każ il-momenti li dawn ikunu mħabbra jkunu lesti biċ-ċertifikat. Sawa tagħmlu, morru tlaqmu ħalli forsi nelbu din il-horror story tagħna darba għal dejjem. Nadu għal story oħra kompletament differenti. The Giorgio brother, ieħor ma ngħid brother għax ma nafux li wieħed għallega li Carmelo Abela għandu konnessjoni ma' serqa tal-2010 tal-HSBC. Jidher il-pulizija għajtu l-Carmelo Abela għall-interrogazzjoni fejn qal li qed jikkopera mal-pulizija. Il-bira wkoll Carmelo Abela qal li ftakar fix-xhieda li kinta fil-każ tal-HSBC l-qorti dakinhar fil-pożizzjoni tiegħu bħala impjegat tal-HSBC. Ovvjament jiena naħseb m'iniex l-unika waħda li nixtieq li nara il-pulizija iħaffu dawn l-investigazzjonijiet forsi nsiru nafu x'ġara u nifu nissemmew ismijiet u stejjer u different ends of the story biex inkunu nafu eżatt x'ġara u x'inhu jiġri.
Exactly. Saga needs to draw to an end at some point. I mean, every week we're hearing Carmelo Abela's name in the media, and all for the same reason, everything linked to this HSBC heist. But the better, the sooner we please do the investigations and come to a conclusion, the better we can just put this behind us and move forward and not have to hear Carmelo Abela and HSBC ever again in the same sentence. Moving on to our third story, now regarding stem cell therapy in Malta, or at least the controversial use of stem cell therapy in Malta, with surgeons of the Association of Orthopedic Trauma Surgeons of Malta warning that vulnerable patients looking for treatment in stem cell therapy are signing up for quote-unquote experimental and unproven methods and treatments for musculoskeletal ailments such as osteoarthritis and whatnot. The association released a press release yesterday warning people who are going to these clinics in Malta that do provide stem cell therapy, saying that there's no real scientific evidence behind the use of stem cell therapy, despite how popular it may be presented in the media and elsewhere, especially when it comes to ailments such as osteoarthritis. In Malta, there's currently no disease-modifying option for this form of arthritis, and the only way out actually is via total joint surgery, which comes with all the associated costs, all the complications, and extensive rehabilitation period, which could take up to years depending on how old you are and whatnot. And obviously, you've got to sympathize with people in this position who have to get these total joint replacements. They might look elsewhere for kind of solutions and stumble upon the stem cell therapy treatments provided by local clinics here. And with it not having such full scientific backing behind it, surgeons here are worried that it's somewhat of a hoax. Then in fact that this treatment is not effective, it won't last forever. And while it might provide some immediate benefits, really, as surgeons, they're warning against it. In fact, this came to light last year as well. The Broadcasting Authority banned some clinics from advertising the stem cell therapy online because it breached some of the codes of ethics. So it's a very controversial topic in the medical sphere.
Il-problema hija li min ikun fl-ġieħ u l-snin fl-ġieħ ma tix torti li prova minn kollox biex jerġeb ħajja normali u sfortunatament dawn in-nies jispiċċaw forsi fejn bniedem bla ġieħ konsidra l-options kollu bniedem ġuħ ikun irid li l-ġieħ jafu bekk jmur għand dawn il-clinics illi issa kif qed jgħidulna t-tobba mhux neċessarjament hija l-aħjar jew mhijiex l-aħjar għażla għal min qegħdin il-persuni qegħdin dawn il-kundizzjonijiet. Ma then again, kulħadd ovvjament jagħmel dak li jħoss li jħindu jagħmel ġismu, ovvjament jekk nafu xi ħadd jgħaddi s-sitwazzjoni li forsi din naraw li mhuwiex qiegħed jaħseb fl-options kollha jew mhux qed jaħseb ċar huwa fid-dover tagħna li nippruvaw dak li jkun ngħinu kemm jista' jkun. Qegħdin nitkellmu fuq kif bniedem għandu dritt fuq għall-awtonomija fuq ġismu ta' ngħaddu għall-aħħar storja tagħna u fil-fatt dak kien proprju il-messaġġ tal-Young Progressive Beings li l-bieraħ għamlu forma ta' protesta xejn differenti minna fuq s-soltu fejn actually għabdu l-handcuffs u rabtu lilhom infushom barra l-Parlament sabiex juru b'mod metaforiku kif il-liġi preżenti f'pajjiżna qiegħda torbot il-mara f'ġisimha bla matti għall-awtonomija fuqha ta' kien il-messaġġ tal-Young Progressive Beings ovvjament fid-dawl tal-liġi ta' dekriminalizzazzjoni tan-nisa illi imorru jagħmlu abort barra minn pajjiżna dal-grupp ta' nisa tfajl li qegħdin jgħidu li din il-liġi hija oppressiva u bekk qegħdin jeżiġu li f'pajjiżna jkun hemm bidla jew għall-inqas ikollna diskussjoni favur il-bidla biex il-mara jkollha dritt komplet fuq ġisimha.
Very strong message. Obviously, it comes after the debate on abortion was picked up once again following MP Marlene Farrugia's presenting of a bill calling for the act to be decriminalized in Malta. I think it sends a strong message, and it's a good message that these women are standing up for themselves, these young progressive beings, and standing up for their own rights. It's good to see that they're willing to do that and have the courage to do that. That brings us to the end of our new segment of Lovin Daily. Make sure to stick around for an exclusive interview with Andy Grech, the president of Athletics Malta. But before that, we have a quick vox pop of Destiny at the Eurovision.
In Malta, we don't say.
Welcome back to Lovin Daily. We're now joined by Andy Grech, former sprinter and long jumper for Malta, and now the president of Athletics Malta. Andy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's an exciting year to be in athletics in Malta. Obviously, the Olympics are around the corner. I think Athletics Malta are doing a lot recently to kind of promote local athletes, especially their achievements, that they're record-breaking and whatnot. You recently had your AGM, and I found that quite interesting because as part of the AGM, you came out saying that one of the main points you want to address over the next 12 months is trying to expose local athletes to a higher level of competition through increased participation in international events. Maybe you can explain a bit more about what you meant by that, and also why is it important for local athletes to kind of go head-to-head against foreign athletes?
Okay, so basically during this AGM, what we did was we started off the year. By the way, on last Saturday was my 1-year anniversary. So what we wanted anyway, is to come together and show Malta how strong we are in athletics. But the problem is that we don't have the population to do that. So, for example, when I was an athlete, we used to be three jumpers, 4 jumpers, and that's it. And you reach a level, okay, you're happy with that level, you're the best in Malta, but you can never improve. So what I always thought of is that we need to be exposed to international events. Not only us traveling there, but foreigners coming here. Why not? At the end of the day, it will save me money as well.
And the idea is that obviously, again, you're a small pool of athletes. You're always going head-to-head against each other.
Exactly.
So you know your competition.
It's monotonous. And you lose motivation.
Exactly, right? So when you're going against foreign athletes, who maybe even of a higher caliber than you,
definitely.
Does that drive the motivation to push for more, to be better? So that's the idea behind these international events.
Yes, and as well, it's a different environment. Your mind changes when when you're looking at different people, when it's a new pit, new run up, new blocks, everything is new surroundings. The athlete becomes more complete. He becomes more holistic. Right. He's learning new experiences as he goes, and that is exactly what we want. Abroad, they're so lucky. For example, I'll take Luxembourg, for example. Over these past few years, they have really improved. For the simple reason that now they can, as in not now, but they get in a car and they travel. Right. They go Germany, they go Switzerland, they go Austria, wherever. It's just a car ride away. Unfortunately, we're limited by being an island.
Absolutely, and it's just that, right? Because when you look at it, we do have the talent here, right?
No, we do. We
absolutely have the talent. It's just the limitation of the fact that we're an island. We don't have the luxury of traveling to a neighbor country to compete and whatnot.
We have limitations, but I don't really like to speak about sort of the downfalls of what we're going through and all that. But yes, we do have limitations. But again, sort of it's just a plain away. We did it during COVID, let alone now as soon as sort of everything is open, no COVID tests, I don't even want to remember, but it will be much easier. Even airline tickets have become so expensive because even just to go somewhere, it's sort of the ticket prices have it's unbelievable. And we still managed to go, let alone next year and let alone the year after. Absolutely. And sort of when everything calms down a bit.
I think almost every week there's Maltese athletes competing abroad in some sort of meet or whatnot. At least that's what the impression I get recently that's been the case.
Yes, FM. The biggest concern we had was that sort of we had no local competitions, but the international calendar was going on as planned. Yeah. Our athletes needed to compete.
And they fall behind, right?
Of course. No, they've already fallen behind. Yeah. So now it's sort of, we took it as an opportunity to expose them entirely. I think until till now we've been abroad around 5-6 times. Since the beginning of the year.
Which is incredible to think, especially. Yeah.
And then we go abroad again next week with a contingent of around 32.
Amazing. I mean, it's incredible to think, especially when you think that Athletics Malta is, as you mentioned previously, it's all voluntary, right? Like people working there,
completely,
it's all voluntary. So the preparation, the time that goes into organizing the flights, the meets, getting in contact with organizations there, that's all done on your spare time.
Just a small note. I get married in 3 weeks now, 2 weeks and a half. And I promise you, my girlfriend is going to murder me soon. So sort of this is done completely voluntarily. So in our spare time, in my free lessons at work, in my whatever, during sort of in the afternoon when I have other things to do, this unfortunately takes priority. Yeah. I feel responsible for them. So that they are, as in, all right, I'm the youngest out of the entire committee, my council, but I still feel responsible for them, for all the athletes. And if I don't send them to these events, then I feel as though I'm letting them down.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, it's great, but at the same time, it's a shame that our athletics organization here isn't a full-time thing, that we don't take, or sports isn't seen as being, serious enough for people to pursue a career in, right? I think that was a lot of athletes expressed this sentiment during this kind of lockdown period where there was a ban on organized sports and people just couldn't understand why we're banning sports, because when you ban sports, you're banning athletes from pursuing their passion, pursuing their career. And for them, it was the case that, this just goes to show that sports can't be taken seriously here in Malta. But it's also the case for you guys, right? Where you don't have the luxury of making this your full-time job and pursuing this and putting all your maximum effort, even though you do it with the time you have. It's a bit of a shame that this isn't considered to be, a full-time.
All right. The thing is, when there were restrictions in place, we obviously had no issues whatsoever with restrictions. Obviously, the cases were what they were. But I'm very, very confident in the fact that we never had a massive breakout, or whenever we had events, it was always well controlled. I think we organized around 13 or 14 events, 2 of which were international events last year, and we had no problems whatsoever. Again, but sort of the cases where they were, we agreed to it. At least we were given the go-ahead by Sport Malta to have the national team train. But what maybe the health authorities don't understand, that our athletes train nearly every day. So that if they're not training, they are thinking about training, they are thinking about their season. So besides the health issues, you're missing your friends. So there's a social aspect, even mental. So for example, if I have an exam, I used to still go to the track and train. It releases my mind. So there's a mental issue as well. Again, if you're not into it, I'm not just talking about athletics, I'm talking about all sports. If you're not into it, you might not understand it. So people see it as an extra thing where you can, get infected. But it's not like that. There are so many health benefits that you can get from practicing a sport. I'm not even talking about elite sport, I'm just talking about general sport. That unfortunately we were forgotten. Yeah. But with regards to the other item you mentioned, I think you better remind me.
Well,
there was another.
Obviously, there's the athlete side, right, where the athlete is driven to pursue sports as a career, but it's not just athlete. It's people like you, the Athletics Malta, the administrators, the committee, the members there who are putting the thing is this:
our athletes, okay, we do have the level. We do have the level to take it professionally, but it is, like I keep on insisting, it is not just the athlete that need help. So, okay, yes, you need the facilities, granted. So do the coaches. If an athlete has the facilities, if they have a brand new track, brand new facilities, whatever, hot, cold, rehab, who's going to guide them? You need a coach, okay? But then who's going to take care of the athlete, the coaches, the clubs, the council? And we're volunteers. At least, sort of, the coaches, maybe they get paid from their club, or for example, from their athletes. But I'm not talking about myself, but if I have more time to spend on athletics, then I am sure that we can improve. I'm not talking about athletics, so I'm talking about other sports as well. For example, athletes have benefits. So, for example, Sport Malta and the MOC give them benefits per year. They have it's quite now it's improved as well. A few months ago, they launched a big fund where sort of athletes can benefit from. They can travel, they can get refunds. Youth program and even the elite athletes in preparation for 2023.
Exactly, which is the game of small states in Europe, right? But
coaches were left out. If an athlete goes abroad, he needs a coach. What about administrators? At the end of the day, if we're not working for that, if we're not working for them, what's going to happen? Shall I let's say I get tired, I get married, I have a kid, and what's going to happen? Am I just going to sort of put everything to the side and, just do the maintenance? And that is another issue. At this point in time, Athletics Malta, I have no problem saying it, we are just maintaining. We're not developing. And that is that is what other countries which are similar to us in size, Iceland, Cyprus, world champions, Olympic champions, European champions, that's what they're doing. They're developing, and you can see the massive achievements they're getting. Whereas we have fallen behind because we are just sort of caretaking. We're just maintaining what we have.
And comfortable with
we're just that's part of our culture. That we are happy with.
But it needs to change.
It does, and culture takes very, very, very long to change. It's not just you snapping your fingers, and it changes completely.
Right.
It takes time.
Right, and we have the Game of the Small States of Europe coming up, like you said, in 2023. I imagine a lot of preparation has to go behind that. It puts Malta in the spotlight when it comes to athletics and whatnot. I mean, what does that mean for Malta as a in terms of like a sporting nation and stuff like?
GSSC, for anyone who maybe doesn't know what it is basically a mini Olympics between countries which are similar size to us, so under 1 million. So we're talking about Cyprus, Iceland, Andorra, San Marino. There are 9 in total. There's Montenegro as well, and basically Malta is one of them. Now in 2023, all these countries are coming to Malta. And this is where Malta showcases its very best athletes. And athletics, thankfully, is one of that sport. In my opinion, we are taking it very, very seriously. Again, Sport Malta and the MOC are really helping us in this aspect because they really believe in what we're trying to do. First thing that we put together is a technical committee, one which actually works. Aside from that, we have 2 technical directors and a technical consultant from Italy. He's worked with us before, and we got very good results when he was here with us. And we have also put together sort of what we call an event team, where we have different coaches that are specified on different events. So for example, if I'm a jumper, I have one particular coach, and all jumpers train together. So it's no longer sort of, he's that club, I don't want to speak to him, and sort of we all train together, we all build on each other's...
National team.
Yes, exactly, and we all build on each other's sort of, problems, build on each other's improvements, and it became sort of a massive team now. And that is why we're going abroad and we're enjoying ourselves, whereas before it was a little bit, there was clashes and whatnot, cliques, and everyone stays together. And the culture, the subculture at the track has really improved, even though it's just been a year. And it's crazy because sort of I was there, I was part of it before. And this is something that we really want to emphasize on.
I mean, you say we're kind of maintaining in terms of where we are in our athletic position, but I mean, past year has seen quite a significant improvement from at least the Athletics Malta side to make a push to kind of raise more awareness about all these local athletes, whether it's through PRs or social media and whatnot. I mean, what is it that one thing that kind of just needs to change so that we go from like maintaining to truly developing as a nation when it comes to the organizational aspect of it all, as
I would say we need more full-timers.
That comes from funding, I imagine.
Yeah,
right? We need more funding.
There are ways how, but unfortunately we didn't find the support that we needed. So the support right now is more based on athletes. Okay. Yeah. At the end of the day, yes, you're right. Athletes are going to be the people that win the medals, correct? Mm-hmm. But in my opinion, as in now I'm speaking this way because I'm in this situation, whereas 10 years ago I would have told you completely different. Sort of we are the people that are coming up with new policies, coming up with new ideas, fighting for sponsorship, fighting for 1,000,001 things. Sort of, I wouldn't say without us, but we are really trying to help.
The backbone.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
And if it weren't for you guys in the organization, what you did, there wouldn't be these athletes performing. No, it's definitely a crucial aspect to it. I mean, before the GSS and all of that, I mean, the biggest one right now on everyone's lips is Summer Olympics. That's coming up. I know Malta has a handful of athletes who are vying for a spot to make it there. Do you have any indication on who is our best shot at making the Olympics and performing well?
The Olympics are obviously the pinnacle of any sort of the world of sport. So if you are sort of the best athlete in the world, that is where you prove yourself. Yes? Now, unfortunately, Malta doesn't have the qualifying standard to go yet. Mm-hmm. So we're very close by Jordan Guzman. He's based in Colorado, America, if I'm not mistaken, and he is our biggest chance. He needs to qualify. If he doesn't qualify, then we are given what's called wild cards. Okay. So we have a male and we have a female, and these can compete. Unfortunately, the male and female wild cards are only for track. So field events, for example, Jeremy's on meet. Unfortunately, he won't be able to go. He'll need to jump 8 meters 10. So he's
currently ranked second.
He's second in the world. Under 18, correct, and he's ranked first in Europe, which is his jump was not wind assisted, basically wind on the back, technical stuff. Right.
So Jordan Guzman is our top prospect.
Top prospect. We also have Janet Richard, who is currently in Italy. She's gone for a 3-week training camp in Italy. Basically, Janet she's been having very busy weeks. She was in Italy. She competed in Italy last week. The week before that, she was in Italy again. Sorry, she was training camp. She went to Agropolis this weekend. Right. She has 2 weeks in. Sorry, she has 2 weeks in Italy. She goes to Andorra. Andorra comes back to Malta, goes back to CSSC, comes back for a week and a half, and then goes back to Cyprus. for European team championships.
And she's a full-time student, right?
No, she's not a student anymore. Now she is.
Okay.
I think she works in the school.
Works in
So
school.
she's an educator.
Exactly.
But still, sort of, she has help.
Yeah.
For example, me, from my end, I have to take time off work.
Right.
So, and that is, it's a big headache.
Absolutely.
It's a sort of time off, you know, and it, as in, I'm neglecting my students, yes. But I need to go. You understand?
Absolutely. And you know, you have all these obligations. You're getting married.
Yeah.
2 weeks. You have work and all this.
Yes.
It's.
And I'm doing my doctorate as well to add. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's definitely a tricky playing field to navigate. And obviously, the hope is that, you know, at some point, Malta does take it seriously enough where this Athletics Malta is not done on a voluntary basis, but done with full-timers.
Exactly.
Because we have, like you said, we have the potential. There's Jordan Guzman, there's Janet Richards, there's Dre Samit, there's Kyle Shakuna. There's plenty of talent.
Yes.
We just, and it seems to be the recurring narrative here. We just don't have the right infrastructure in place for it to be properly implemented.
I wouldn't just say the infrastructure. I would go as a writer. This is what I'm studying about. It's not just the infrastructure, but it's also the human resources. So do we have the people who are sort of who studied on these things? If we do, are they being used? The answer is no. Apart from that, do we have the funds? We do have the funds. Are they being targeted in the right places? No. This is all research that I've carried out, and I can answer you truthfully.
Right.
No, they're not being used. Are the people happy that sort of the funds are being used that way? No, they're not. Another issue is our culture.
Yeah.
Sort of, is the Maltese culture ready for sports professionals? Are we ready to take sports seriously? Can we make a living out of it? No. But these are all long-term objectives. This is done through a 10, 20-year plan. It's not just you snap your fingers,
exactly.
You build a playground and you expect everyone to be sort of, you know, sportive.
No, it takes time.
It takes time.
To manifest.
Yes.
I think a lot of people, like you mentioned, just think it's going to happen overnight.
No, it doesn't.
But at least, you know, with people like you at the helm and people in the committee you have,
yes,
we can slowly
that is what we're
create
trying to do.
Change.
It's not me, for example. I hate shortcuts. I hate shortcuts. I prefer working long term. Yes, getting there for a longer period of time, but getting there and getting there properly.
Exactly. Andy, thank you so much for joining us today. It was a pleasure talking to you. Can't wait to see how Athletics Malta develops in the future with you at the helm. And for everyone who joined us today, have a day full of lovin'.